This is problem number 3 from assessment number 2. In this problem, it says solve the equation and check your answer. You'll notice that we have a bunch of fractions. In order to cancel those fractions, I think it makes sense to find a common denominator for these fractions. And it looks like 12 would be a good common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything in the equation by 12. Now I'm going to write this in a way that hopefully it makes sense that I don't want to multiply the stuff in the inside by 12, inside the parentheses by 12. You're going to see that you're just essentially multiplying the front fraction by 12, right? That's going to be distributed. So you don't need to multiply every single thing in there because technically this is one term, this is a term, and this is a term. I'll show you here. If I distribute 12 to each of these terms, this would be 12 over 1 times 1/2 d minus 9 so this would be minus 12 over 1 times 8 over 3 4d minus 4 equals 12 over 1 times 5 over 12. So as you can see there, I essentially took 12 and I multiplied it times each of these terms. Now you can see that when you multiply this 12 over 2 is 6, so I end up with just 6d minus 9. And then when I multiply 12 here, 12 over 3 is 4, so I end up with 4 times 8, which is minus 32. And then 4d minus 4, still in parentheses, haven't distributed yet. 12 over 12 cancels, leaving you with 5. So the main point I want to get across is you're not multiplying 12 inside the parentheses here because these are all one term. So you're essentially just multiplying the 12 times the front fraction. And then when you distribute, obviously it's going to be, those numbers are going to increase by 12 because this number here, this number 6, is 12 times larger than a half. So when you distribute here in a second, you're essentially getting the inside of the parentheses to be 12 times larger. So this is 6d minus 54 when I distribute. Negative 32 times 4, 128, so negative 128d. And then this would be plus 32 times 4, that's again 128, which equals 5. Combine some like terms, so 6d minus 128d, that'll be negative 122d on the far left here, negative 54 and 128. Let's see. Just so we don't make any errors, we'll use a calculator. 74. So plus 74 equals 5. Now we're going to subtract 74 on each side. Negative 122d equals, this would give you negative 69. Divide by negative 122. And we get d equals 69 over 122 for a solution. Now we need to check this solution. How do we check the solution? Well, you could use your calculator, if you have a good calculator to do this. You could also use Desmos in a similar fashion. So if I use a calculator, say you have a TI-84 or even Desmos, what you can do in Desmos is you can type in the equation and then you can store this solution and then it'll just spit out the answer. So I'll show you on a calculator how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to store, there's an STO button on here. I know you can't maybe see it on the screen, maybe you can. But we're going to say 69 divided by 122. I'm just going to hit enter there and I'm going to store that. So STO as x. Then I'm going to type in the equation. So I'm going to have a fraction, 1 over 2, x minus 9 minus, again grab a fraction, 8 over 3, and again, like I said, you can do this in Desmos. You're typing the exact same thing. So 4x minus 4. And then all I got to do is hit enter, and if I get 5/12, well, obviously it worked. I get this, I convert it to a fraction, so let's see, math, fraction, 5/12. So we have our solution. We did the problem correctly.